One of our favorite sponsors is back with us, Sunset Lake CBD.
Yeah.
If you're looking for CBD that actually does what CBD is supposed to do, look no further than our friends over at Sunset Lake.
Let me break it down.
Break it down, Mel.
They're sustainably farmed, meaning they avoid pesticides and use sustainable farming practices to preserve the land for future generations. 1. 2, farm to table. They ship the CBD products straight from their door in Vermont directly to your door wherever you're at.
Now that's cool.
And third party tested. They test everything with a third party to ensure quality, dosage, and safety.
You got to go over and check out sunsetlakecbd.com. They have so many products. Break it down for them, Apple.
Well, they've got some new stuff going on. Like they always had pre-rolls, but now they got really cool packaging for it. And you can get CBD pre-roll flights of all their flavors. You can get the heavy hitter flight that also throws in some of their Keef blunts. They have a new CBD recovery body lotion.
I'm excited about that.
Mm-hmm.
And what was the other?
The other one with arnica.
The extra strength muscle rub, 3,000 milligram with 5% lidocaine.
So look,
Oh, yeah,
if you're
lidocaine.
sore, this is the stuff you want to rub on your body to make those aches and pains go away. They even have CBD infused coffee, so you can have coffee without the little jitter that you get from caffeine, and you have it in the morning and you start your day off right. Your body feels lubricated. You're going to sleep good.
Yeah, and also they have, if you kind of forget to reorder, they've got subscriptions.
And they're giving the No Simple Road family 20% off.
20% off.
Put
with
in the promo code NSR20 when you're checking out at sunsetlakecbd.com. You're going to get 20% off your entire order.
NSR20.
And don't forget those cute little gummy bears.
That's right. sunsetlakecbd.com, one of our favorite sponsors, is back.
Hey everyone, Chris Pandolfi from the infamous String Dusters here to let you know that my podcast, Inside the Musician's Brain, is back on the airwaves for Season 4, which means it's time once again to get deep with influential musicians from all across the musical landscape to really understand and translate the lessons of success, failure, inspiration, and hard work that are behind the music and the artists that we love. My guests this season include Rachel Price from Lake Street Dives, Sam Bush, Chris Wood, Chris Funk from The Decemberists, Lindsay Liu, MC Taylor from His Golden Messenger, and more. Check us out, and thanks for listening.
We're so excited to tell you a bit about today's sponsor, Music Masters Collective. They are a nonprofit organization that produces unique music events, providing opportunities for fans and artists to meet and collaborate in an inspired and creative atmosphere.
Music Masters Collective events give you the opportunity to learn from world-class musicians like Otil Burbridge, Steve Earle, Richard Thompson, former members of the band, the Milk Carton Kids, Nikki Glaspie, the Fab Four, and Sean Colvin, and so many more.
At an event like the Milk Carton Kids Sad Song Summer Camp happening this July, you can expect immersive classes, evenings of entertainment, excellent food, and a space for a lucky group of folks to learn, co-write, workshop, and perform with like-minded peers, all with the guidance of Kenneth Pattengale, Joey Ryan, and some of their favorite songwriters. This all-inclusive week in the Catskill Mountains of upstate New York is guaranteed to be magical. Scholarships are available and spots are extremely limited, so visit www.sadsongsummercamp.com/simple to learn more. That's www.sadsongsummercamp.com/simple. Check it out. This episode of No Simple Road is brought to you by
Shop Tour Bus.
That was weak. Where's Mel?
Shop Tour Bus.
Oh, Jake.
I was not.
You don't know what to do.
Jake didn't know.
Head over to @ShopTourBus on Instagram
Shop
or
Tour Bus.
shoptourbus.com online and pick yourself up some Grateful Dead inspired t-shirts, stickers, and
Onesies.
yeah, man,
Onesies.
baby stuff. That
And all
new,
kinds of trinkets.
Yeah.
new design that comes with the, what is it? The
Baby of the world. Well, no.
Baby of the World.
Eyes
No,
of the
it's
World.
not a Jasper design. It's an Eyes of the World t-shirt. See, I was thinking about this the other day. There's a lot of
They do
Grateful
have-
Dead inspired T-shirts and stuff online, but the grand majority of them have Steal Your Faces or the Bolt or something that identifies it as a Grateful Dead merchandise.
That everybody's seen.
But
and
this is different. It is artwork inspired by the songs that we all love, and that's one of the reasons that I fell in love with Shop Tour Bus in the first place, was because it wasn't on the nose. It wasn't like, this is Grateful Dead stuff. It was, you had to know the music to understand the stuff that you were looking
yeah,
at.
it's a little cryptic. It
Yeah.
kind of makes you like, what?
You're on
Double
the
take.
inside. You know the secret handshake
Yeah.
when you wear this stuff.
Why
So
are you trying to leave people out?
because that's how I roll. You know.
But you don't have to be left out if you go over to Shop Tour Bus and
Thank
you
God
order
for
yourself
saving
one of
us.
these one of a
You're
kind
gonna get something,
inspirational
too.
tees.
Yeah, well, not only are they one of a kind and inspirational, but the box that it comes in is hand designed. When you get that box, there is not another box like that box anywhere on the entire planet.
That's pretty amazing.
That is amazing. That box is special just for you. It
It is
has
special.
a really cool Grateful Dead lyric on the inside. The shirt is like rolled up on the inside of the box, all nice, tied with this piece of twine, and then there's like little extras in there, and you don't know what they're going to be. And then you're going to get a bootleg, and you don't know what era it's from. And it's a cassette tape, and they even give you a pencil to spool the tape with in case the tape gets eaten in your antiquated tape player. So
Oh, the good old days.
they have thought of everything at Shop Tour Bus, including free shipping.
How do you get free shipping?
For everybody that listens
Free
to No Simple
shipping.
Road, when you check out, put in the promo code No Simple Road, and they will ship your fabulously, wonderfully, beautifully designed box for free.
That's a fantastic deal.
And if you want to send a personal message to a friend or a loved one, when you're checking out in the notes section, you can put that message in there, and they will design your box around your special, cute little personal message. So say thank you to the roadies over at Shop Tour Bus and tell them No Simple Road sent you when you check out. Put in the promo code No Simple Road and get
More than you bargained for. Hey.
hey.
Hey, what's up, man?
Yeah,
This episode of No Simple Road is brought to you by...
To me?
Yes.
Cool.
It's brought to you by... Define Premium Cannabis.
Really?
Yes.
Cool.
DEFY
Because we smoke
'Cause we smoke weed.
Yay, stoners. Yay.
N-E.
We did it.
So head on over
Yay.
to one of our 2 locations. We have one in Hillsboro on Tualatin Valley Highway, and we have one in Forest Grove. And if you come in Monday through Friday to the Hillsboro location, you ask for me, I will come out and I will help you with all your needs to get your topicals, your edibles, your smokables, your dabbables.
Your
There's-
wipables, your
there's so many
danceables, your
edibles.
scrubbables. your-
Ubbables.
oh,
Do they have
Edibles.
wipes?
not yet. They have eye drops.
Wipes? Yeah, they
Yeah.
do. Well, we don't.
But
I've
they,
heard of those
the
in
grand,
California.
wider they
Yeah, they're
in the
being
world
made out
has
there
them.
somewhere. But anyway, come in, or if you don't come to the Hillsboro shop and see me, or I'm not there, go to the Forest Grove location too. But make sure to tell them that you are a listener to the show.
Why?
Why?
Because you'll get 10% off your purchase, and you'll get a free T-shirt.
A free
So-
T-shirt.
A free
Come on
T-shirt.
out. We will take care of you. All of our knowledgeable budtenders will take their time with you. We love it. That's encouraged. A lot of times they spend 20 minutes, a half hour with the customer.
And I just want to say that tonight, a very special No Simple Road is coming to you, and Jake's Mind is brought to you by Define Premium Cannabis this evening. So,
Thank you, Define. I've
Yep.
been there.
yep. So,
Absolutely amazing
And we
place.
are,
Incredible
tonight
people.
we're enjoying some
Highly
Doctor
recommend it.
Who from Meraki Gardens. Thank you, Meraki
Doctor
Gardens.
Who?
Doctor Who.
That's right.
Doctor
At
Who.
one
It's
time,
not
Jake,
Dr.
you
What.
were
Who's on first?
Well, you were responsible at one time, Jake, for bringing fine products to Define.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
There was a brief moment I was doing sales in the cannabis rec market. It was fun. It was interesting, and I got to work with incredible people like
Define
Like-
Premium Cannabis.
and
It was
Define
always
Premium
fun
Cannabis.
when Jake showed up
Absolutely
at the
amazing
shop.
place. Let
All
me
right.
tell you.
So-
Absolutely amazing, and the coolest people you'll ever meet. Please go down.
Yeah.
2
I highly
locations,
recommend it.
one in Hillsboro, one in Forest Grove. Make sure when you go in and you get your stuff, when you're checking out, you tell them you listen to No Simple Road, you're part of the family, you're going to get 10% off your purchase.
And a free
free
T-shirt
And
Yes.
take care.
of your head.
No simple road. No simple road. No simple road. No simple road.
Hi, my name is Tim Wheaton. I'm the host of the Daddy Unscripted podcast. No, it's not just me talking with dads about being dads, and it's not just for dads, that's for sure. What it is a varied spectrum of inspiring stories and emotional tales from a wide range of guests that come from the world of sports, of music, and even the guy that lives down the street from you. Not that guy, but the other guy. Yeah, that one. I can pretty much guarantee you're going to get something out of every episode. So come check out the Daddy Unscripted podcast.
We're trained fucking professionals. Look at us go.
You know, it's like trying to play with the van. You're like, okay, I think they're in E. Oh shit, and then you switch to G.
We just did it. We just do it. It just happens.
It's fine.
Hi,
It sounded
Jake.
Good.
Hi,
Hey,
Brent.
guys.
Hey, now, No Simple Road
absolutely
family.
love you guys.
What's
Welcome,
happening out
Jake
there?
and Bryn to the porch.
Thank you.
This has become fun. Jake
Bum,
and,
bum, bum.
Jake and Brent are like they're like recurring guests.
Yep.
It's fun to have you guys
Well,
over.
they're
I
our brother and
enjoy-
sister over there.
Yeah.
I enjoy being a reoccurring guest. And let me tell you guys, I'm only 2 days older than Melanie. You know, our birthdays.
Happy
are just
birthday, Jake.
We're
2
birthday
days.
buddies.
We're
Happy
just 2
birthday,
days
Melanie.
apart.
Thank you.
Just 2 days,
Happy
so it's really
birthday,
cool.
Jake.
You know, it's we're all so.
It's been a
similar
great birthday
frequencies.
season, hasn't it?
It's been a great year. I'm really happy. It's been a great birthday
Yep.
season. Everything's going really good. I'm happy. I love you guys.
How did you spend
Absolutely
your
amazing
magical birthday?
You know, I think we just kind of hung out. What did we do that Sunday?
You went hiking.
We did.
Mel is reminding
went to
Jake
Powell
what he did
Buttes.
on his own birthday.
Yes,
Look,
that's
ladies
right.
and
We
gentlemen.
had-
You were out with the
Whoa,
family.
yeah, we
dude.
I
had
was
a-
hanging out with products from Define, and I'm trying to remember what the hell happened.
After that, we went and had gluten-free bagels. We
Oh, yeah.
went to
Gluten-free
Powell
bagels.
Butte and had a sunny autumn hike with our lovely
Amazing
family.
hike at Powell Butte
We
Park in Portland,
made-
Oregon.
It's Powell Butt. All right.
Okay,
but
and, we made.
I had a great birthday.
So I love it. It
I
went
had
from we didn't do
gluten-free
anything
donuts.
to
Yeah,
you
we
did a
made
lot.
gluten-free,
Our
sugar-free
my
donuts. That was
lovely
amazing.
daughters made me gluten-free donuts. 'Cause I'm a
Wow.
gluten-free guy. Gluten-free, grain-free donuts, and they were sugar-free, absolutely amazing.
So
They
was
did
it
a great
just like a
job.
piece of cardboard with
Essentially,
like paste
it
on
was.
it?
Sugar-free.
Dude, I'm gonna make
gluten-free.
them for you for your birthday
It
so
was
that
so
you
good.
understand how
I'm
they
fucking
are
with you guys.
not.
I'm
There's
sure they're
so many
delicious.
things you
No,
can do.
I don't
Amazing.
believe her. She better make 2
Recipes.
batches.
Actually,
There's
right? You want
ingredients.
proof?
Yeah.
I can
There's
tell.
I had a great
recipes, there's
birthday.
ingredients.
And you know, Mel had a great birthday. It's just good. You know, we're moving forward. We're all
And
doing good.
Just before your birthdays,
Yes.
all of us took a trip to Eugene
Yes.
to see the string cheese incident. And that's what this week's
we
episode
did.
is an interview with Jason Hann.
Thank
from
you,
String Cheese
Jason
Incident.
Hahn,
Yeah,
for
thanks,
being
Jason.
on the show.
That was very nice of him. He took the time. out
He
of his
took
very
his
busy day.
time after
and he loved
his
every moment of it.
rehearsal before the show, all like hurried and shit, and then chilled out with us and had an excellent. I learned so much about him, and I fell in love with him that night.
And
He
Jason,
is a sweet dude.
I want to just remind you at the end of the interview, we talked about doing this again in a longer format.
Yes.
So just throwing that out there, putting it into your consciousness so that it can
Oh, he'll be
marinate.
back.
And
There's a
and
lot more to
bubble
yes,
up
talk
I
the
would
about.
love to have him on the show
He
again.
will be back. He is a very cool dude. He's
I
a
feel
real
like,
dude.
I feel like we just
Yeah.
got a little teaser.
So there's something that happens when we all go to shows together. You guys have been going to shows with us for 2 years now.
It's like a year and a half,
Yeah,
something
yeah.
like that. You know, it's more than 10 shows, I feel like.
Oh,
now,
yeah.
And that's a lot
More than
for a
10?
crew. And we're just
Dang.
like
So, yeah.
able
Seems
to
like about
harmonize
this time
with.
last year we went to Yodo. Right?
Yeah, and having a crew
Oh,
that you can
yeah.
harmonize with, and
Yep.
you can stretch out. In
Yeah,
a
you guys
way-
are our crew.
Yeah, in a way you can stretch out in a safe and psychedelic way, and then everything's cool. You can still do that over and over and over. That's a really special connection, and I really deeply value that connection.
We do too, man. And there's something that
I really appreciate how likable you both are.
there's something that happens at every show that we go
Otherwise,
to.
we might not like each other.
And
so
you-
I used to be the biggest asshole. I'm just kidding.
And you guys have seen this thing, I'm sure, that after the show, like every show becomes our favorite.
That's,
So like, yo, that was my favorite show ever. Honest to God, like, and I've been to a show since. Like, the combination of the music, being there with you guys, the weather, and interviewing Jason before the show, this was far and away my favorite show that I have ever been to. period.
Wow.
Yay! Wow.
Well,
that
I
was
mean,
a pretty
like bigger
great
than Fare Thee
combination.
Well
and the
and all
breakfast
that?
that came afterwards.
This-
Don't forget
what's-
about that.
That
too,
breakfast
huh?
and
Right?
that shopping
Oh, well,
trip.
yeah.
We'll get there. But
It was an experience.
this
the
this
night,
is
first
just.
night.
I mean, my first Grateful Dead show will always be my favorite show that I've ever been to.
I see what you mean.
But this one, I don't know why.
It was very crystalline. When everything works out perfectly, and then like you have just a really awesome experience, and you're able to maintain that high vibe, and you're with friends and the love and all that stuff, and it's just, and from the beginning of your event that's in the time stream, and at the end of your event, then everything was perfect. It becomes like this like crystalline experience.
Yeah.
I have a lot of memories like that. My first 3 years living in Portland were like that. It was amazing.
Well, the
This is
dancing
within
in
our
the
first 3
dancing
years.
in the rain was what was so
I think
amazing.
that's
Yeah.
what
It
really
Oh,
like
yeah.
put the icing on the cake was. I don't know if you guys go through this, but I have this weird trip that I go through when I take psychedelics at a show, like that.
You have this weird trip
wait,
you go through
That's
when you
the
take
idea. That's the idea.
hold
No,
on,
it's
wait.
just you, dude. We do it to feel normal. Just be
Right
like,
on.
I don't know if that
hang on,
happens,
hang on. Let me explain.
I
Let me
think there's
explain.
more. There's more. Hold on.
So during the first set, I'm always like, am I high enough? Am I too high? Was that the right dose? Am I sick? Do I have enough space? Is it
And what do you usually do? You take more.
I eat more.
Take more.
But still.
Yeah.
So I go through this like whole weird cycle, and then usually by set break I've leveled off and I've figured out where I'm at and I have space, and then I take more, and then it's whatever. I went through all of that in the first song and a half at String Cheese. Like it happened super fast. And then it started really raining. So there was like plenty of space, so I didn't have that whole like I need to mark my territory weird
Yeah,
trip
it was
that
very
happens.
open.
and then it like left me free to just experience the show. And being hot from taking whatever you take, and then having the rain and the cold.
It wasn't a factor. It
Dude.
like balanced.
And your plastic rain gear that's keeping
Insulated.
water
I didn't even
yeah.
have that.
Oh, yeah.
I had a regular jacket and a hoodie.
and jeans
And jeans
soaked
that were
through.
soaked
It was like a
Nice.
Peter Pants, but
It
like
wasn't
this,
cold rain either. It was rain that was warm enough to where it was tolerable, which is so awesome.
And I just have never felt that feeling of like connected to the energy of the band and the earth on that level. Just because the rain is tactile,
Right.
it's like a tangible feel thing. And so the music was like coming through the rain. And then the rain was falling through the light show.
Dude, like that was the
Which is
raddest
awesome.
part.
That was
Yeah,
really
that was
beautiful.
really amazing
Yeah.
to watch. And I have a video, and you might want to post it after that. Did I ever send it to you of you and
No.
Apple dancing?
No.
There's this really, like, I'm just behind you guys, and I started to record, and you're like killing it. You know, you're winding up your arms and stomping with your boots, and then Apple comes over and like gives you a side hug, and you guys kind of like embrace for a minute, and then like Apple goes
Aw.
into his little dance with his hand, and it was just fucking cute. And
We're cute, Apple.
you guys
Why
are
are you
cute.
why are you
Did you get the
withholding
part
evidence?
where our kids were mimicking your dancing behind you?
Were they really?
Oh, yeah,
they
they-
actually were.
They
It
made a
was
whole
very
game
funny.
of it. They were coming up and tapping you.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, no, there was another part though where they were like kind of imitating you a little bit, but they were also shy. Like, oh my god, if he turns around, then what?
We'll be mortified.
Then I'll be like,
ah,
Oh, hey.
Hey,
let's
nice
dance.
dancing.
Let's dance.
That's a very special venue. There's a lot of really
Yes.
good energy there.
It felt intimate.
And,
I love that venue
It's
so
right
much.
on the Willamette River, and it has amazing sound. It has really good acoustics, and it's
Yeah.
very comfortable. And you know, the vibe of Eugene is very laid back in general. So it's just like it's a great place to stretch out in a safe
Mm-hmm.
environment and see a good show. Which that great
It
run was a great
was.
run.
Yeah, and that was our first show. Me, Melanie, and Aaron.
Yeah. Our first, yeah.
Our
Where you
first string
sat
cheese.
and
Well,
watched
So-
the whole show.
second.
Okay, so
Second.
Aaron, what do you think about your first string cheese show? Your real second. Well, we're
The
saying
first
it's
one didn't count. This is the first
This is
one.
the real
This is the real
first
Yeah.
one.
real first one.
It's the best mix of every kind of music that I love ever. Period. it covered every base. It scratched every itch. And there's a thing at Fish that happens with Trey's playing, that there's these peaks and valleys of joy that happen with Fish. And I feel like Jake had said this prior to going, and I wasn't sure what he was talking about, and I experienced it, is that those highs of Fish was the entire String Sheath show.
The joy.
That joy was the whole time.
And that's one of the things that really makes them unique. Is I've always noticed that at their shows, the love vibe, that frequency, that feeling, it's almost like palpable. You just like grab a knife and like cut it out of the air. They've always just been so loving, and that's why I've really resonated with those guys for so long, is because they really just put out so much love, and it just emanates from there. They're really cool people, and they do good things, and they love the music they're playing there. And they're all just like us, you know. They're all the similar frequency. They all think pretty much the same things we do, you know. And we're just loving, compassionate humans that love music. So we're kind of all in the similar frequency in that sense. So it's just like they're making the music that you would make if you were up there in a strange way.
Yeah,
totally. And you know what's weird? What's weird about that?
That's a good way to put it. It really is.
So, like, having the experience that I had there, I realized something, and it's taken me 30 years to figure this out. And it's part of the reason that this is my favorite show that I've ever been to, is that in that space, like, dancing with the rain falling and my family around me, inside that groove, I feel the most me I can possibly feel. I feel so comfortable, and there's no anxiety in that space. There's no second guessing in that space. There's no questioning or wondering, or it's all just like power and manifestation. And I could feel myself vibrating out, and I can feel it coming back, and it's comfortable.
And if you think about they're putting out this love frequency, and if you think about infinite love, there's non-judgment. There's no judgment in love, in infinite love. So it's like all that freedom that you're feeling. It's letting go of all those constraints, you know, that are kind of that we impose on ourselves. They're just psychic judgments,
physical constraints. Like,
and we're just
you don't just go around
up.
dancing on a regular basis.
Well, you just feel that love, and you resonate with
Seriously.
it.
Well, at least not like that,
out.
like at a show. I mean, we all dance
you know,
around.
it gives you the permission to stretch out, to just resonate with that love, and then push and let go, just be in the moment, and then
it's like a trust fall.
And they. It's very intentional. I mean, I feel like they've been cultivating that vibe for a really long time, and now it's just there's so much depth to it now.
If that's the point of the ritual, those dudes are on point.
Yeah. I think they know it very well.
Why do you say that, Bryn?
I feel like that they're. You know, it's interesting because it's. Oh, there I am. Hi.
Yeah, look at that.
Just various little things they say, ways you watch them interact with each other, interact with the crowd. A lot of the lyrics of their songs and the other songs, like we stayed for all 3 shows, and their very last, the if I'm remembering correctly, the encore of the third night was an old Paul Simon song that African Skies, that talks about, it's like this is how we begin to remember. And you know, hearing them sing that song with such emotion and looking at the crowd and smiling, and how they were talking about, you guys look at you all out here in the rain for 3 days. Like they're noticing our intention of all wanting to be there and how important it is to us. And it's not like we're just up here, you know, playing this music and this is our job. I mean, you can very much tell in so many ways that aren't exactly in my consciousness right this second.
No,
but you know what I mean?
That's a great way to put the point across. You're right. It's like a playing with both of you instead of you just watching. It's like we're all here for a reason. 3 days in a row through the rain. That's amazing.
Well, they're just like us. Like, I remember thinking how cool it was for years that I would see, you know, Michael Kang and Michael Travis at festivals, like essentially down in the trenches with us. Like, I'd be shopping for clothes at Earth Dance with Bryn. I'd look over and there'd be, Michael Kang shopping for clothes, and just be like, and then you'd be like at the shows, like, and then you look over and they'd be hanging out. They were in the scene with us. It wasn't, they weren't like in their ivory towers or wherever, just like
Show's
off
over,
on their
gotta
own.
get on the bus.
Yeah, or they're off in their own universe.
Yeah.
Like they're us. Like
Yeah,
they're
and it
so
really comes across.
it really comes across. So they're noticing, like they love the same music that we love. So they're noticing what's the best, type of music that they can integrate and then, adapt to their vibe, and what, whether it's like world music.
They were
or
very current.
electronic or whatever they bring to the table, they're doing it in such an intentional way because they want to just expand the experience and make
Right.
it
And we're
more
feeding each other.
yeah,
in
and
that
make it
way.
more powerful.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, again, fresh and new at the same time.
And that they're so amazing. And the thing I like too is I was saying that though several times they reminded me of Humphreys, kind of the way they transition so smoothly
Between genre.
Like one moment it sounds like 70s R&B, and then it's like Caribbean music, and then bluegrass,
Yeah.
and they do it so
love
seamlessly and in
that.
and out. Especially when you're dancing with your eyes closed, you forget like for a moment like
They
who
take
you're
you to a
listening to.
tropical place. Like
Yeah. Yeah, you
it's
float
raining
in
and,
and
you're
out.
thinking you're like at the beach, with like, oh, somebody splashing the ocean water on my face, and it's sunny outside, and all of a sudden they switch it up and it's like, holy shit, oh yeah, we're here at Cuthbert on the lawn, like
Oh, shit.
dancing. Like
yeah, I'm at a show.
yeah, they really took us like on a voyage.
Well, and after the whole summer of doing all the stuff that we did, like, I had moments during the summer of like, why am I doing this? What's the point of this for me? Like, not No Simple Road, not anything other than for Aaron. Like, where am I going? What's the point of all this? And I felt like at that show, at that moment, was the culmination of all the work that I had done all summer long for me, for myself. Like, it put an exclamation point at the end of all of it. Like, oh, this is what I was working for all summer long. And the trick, though, is bringing that back after the trip is over and remembering that whole feeling and taking it with me out after the feeling of serotonin overload is gone. And I still feel it. Like, I really, not 100%, otherwise it'd probably disappear. But like, I feel more confident since that night. I got something really special at that show. It did something
That's amazing.
really cool. And I'm really grateful to those guys. Like, Jake, you really hyped it up.
Yeah.
Really,
Jake did hype
wanted
it
you to
up.
be there.
Jake is a hype man.
Look,
He
did a
is.
great
when I
job.
love something, it's because it's coming from a place of truth. I wouldn't be lying to you. I absolutely
Hey,
love
You,
those
you've
guys.
He
not
hasn't-
steered us
yes,
wrong
I
yet.
was
just gonna say that.
Summer meltdown, like everything we've done together,
So far,
has
so
been,
good.
as
So far,
Jake
so
says,
good.
epic.
Yeah.
Epic.
Well,
Yep.
you guys are
Every
epic.
time.
The tinctures that we
I absolutely love you
take.
guys.
Yeah.
These guys,
And-
this podcast is so special. It's not just these guys. It's they often say it's the listeners. It's all of us. This is something really special.
Yeah.
This
We're coming
new,
together with
We
each other.
felt it
Yeah.
everywhere down there when we were at that show.
Yeah.
And that show to me too was the perfect show because there's no more festivals or anything. Now it's fall. Being there when it was raining, the weather's turning. It wasn't too bad or too cold yet. It was the perfect concert for like the end of the 3-day runs
Right.
and the festival stuff. It
Yeah.
was
closing of
beautiful.
the season.
Mm-hmm. It's a trip to look back over the summer and think about all the stuff we did. I went the other day at work and was doing some not work that I was supposed to be doing at work. I was working on the show while I was at work.
Oh.
And I was listening back to the String Summit recap, part of it. And just remembering listening to that and then having the memory of being there and the feeling of what it felt like to get there and set up and
How beautiful the drive-in was.
and where I was at in my head at the time. And it gave me this weird perspective of myself. Like, wow,
what gave you that perspective?
listening to
okay.
to that and what I was saying at the time, I could remember what was going on in my own head when I
Yeah.
said that stuff.
Yeah.
And just in a few short months, the difference in perspective in myself is a trip to experience. And I wonder how many people out there have that same thing after the end of festival season, when it's time to hunker down and
it all has a chance to start sinking in more
distillate,
too.
yeah.
You're actually down because we've had some downtime now, and sitting around it, it sinks in more, and you realize like, wow, you miss it, but you appreciate it way more, and you start to kind of evaluate it and think over it, and then go back and listen to those shows. I went back and listened to all 3 of those shows, and they're all amazing.
Yeah. Those were some of my favorite No Simple Road shows I've ever listened to, is the ones where we've taken them on a journey.
yeah.
And like the multiple artists and just the talking while we're listening to or in between things.
It's like interactive, like an interactive experience.
And you're right. I've done that with shows too, babe. Been able to remember like the mind frame that I was in and re-feel it. But with myself now, I'm like, wow, I guess I have done some shit. I keep, I'm on myself about having done this or don't do that, and like I should be, could be, would be doing this.
something with myself.
Yeah, and then I'm
shit.
like, wait a minute, but yeah, like I'm in the exact same spot I said I wanted to be in. What?
There's definitely a progression.
Oh, there's progression.
But
that's why, like, I'm noticing it.
I don't see it.
It's amazing.
On the day-to-day, that's not like it's like watching grass grow or your hair.
Or even like your kids. I mean, when
Yes.
you see, somebody that hasn't seen your kids in 2 months, and they're like,
Yeah.
"Oh my gosh, they've grown
Yeah.
so much!" And yes, they're growing, and yes, they got new pants or whatever. But it's different when you haven't seen them in a month. Then
Yeah.
you really, it's more stark.
One day they have facial hair, or like what?
Yeah, or they call you on the phone, they're like, "Hey, Dad."
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, and I feel like for that experience to happen, there was just exactly perfect.
Yeah.
To put it in Bobby's words, like,
I'm so glad you guys came. I just really, they're such an important part of the post Jerry Garcia jam band legacy. I mean, if it's a story,
well, that's what I said to you when during the very first 2 songs, I looked over at you. I was still coming on, and I was like, "Holy shit!" And you were like, "What do you think?" And I was like, "It feels like it feels like the Dead."
They do tap into that deep spiritual feeling that's rooted. Maybe it's in the resonance of the Americana music, like those.
It's in the vibrations of those frequencies.
Yeah, it could be in that, but there's just something so satisfying and just spiritually nourishing that.
Nourishing is a wonderful
Wow, that's a
word
good
for it.
word. Yeah.
Nourishing is a
nurturing
really,
and nourishing.
yes,
Yeah.
both.
It's
That's so true. Think about that. A concert to get nourished.
Well, it's
and
like a
nurtured.
spiritual recharge. You get that spiritual battery charged back up, and the love battery. I mean, you can get motivated, you can get excited, depending on whatever ritualistic experience you do. But something about a string cheese show really fills that love battery. So you leave there just feeling really charged up with just really positive, loving energy, and we need those recharge points. I mean, that's what they're designed for.
Well, that's the thing, like, that I'm talking about. So we did a lot over this last summer, and in the middle of all of that, like, as you're doing it, okay, I shouldn't talk as somebody else. I'm not thinking about the end result. I'm in the moment doing the thing that I'm doing. And at times I can lose focus of why I'm even bothering to be there in the first place beyond seeing the music. Like, I've had that thought several times over the summer, like, wait a minute, what's the point again? And I wonder, like, if that's part of the trip.
You mean part of your trip?
Yeah.
Yes, it's part of your trip.
Or if
Yes.
that's like that doubting negative voice
Why
in my
can't
head
it be both?
that's like, You can't do that. There's no way you could pull that off. Like that guy.
Aaron, you're already pulling it off. Already.
Well,
Well,
Yeah.
we're not the doubters. We're talking about you.
Yeah.
Well, we see what's happening, and I'm going along with the program.
You know, I remember there was a point in my life after going to a certain part of, number of shows where I got to a point where I stepped over in those multidimensional experiences so many times and saw it essentially from the light's perspective and why these shows and these rituals take place, and felt the healing personally. And then, when you understand that purpose, and you can always approach it from that perspective when you show up at the show. So when I had those realizations, I don't think I go to a show without seeing it from that perspective.
Yeah.
But the thought that came to my head
Yeah.
was, if you're not sick, why take the medicine?
Because you always do need to interact with it. That's, there's a really careful balance that you do have to have. I mean, if you start losing focus of what the substance you're taking has the power to do, and you just treat it like a party drug, especially something like LSD specifically, even,
Yeah.
then you're going to have a bad experience, because that's
If you
not
don't
what it's
do
there
pizza
for.
and fries, you're gonna have
Well,
a bad time.
the thing, you know what I mean? It's like, it's not meant for that. So then you start treating it like a party drug, and then all of a sudden it's like fucking with you.
But there is nothing wrong with having a good time.
Well,
no.
there's
So you
nothing
just
wrong
gotta
with
be careful.
moderation too.
Yeah,
You don't
so-
have to like go heroic like
I
every
mean-
time. That sometimes when we've gone a little too
Sideways.
yeah. Then after it's like, holy shit! Okay, it's fun.
I mean, yeah,
to
it's definitely-
find that right.
You
Well, that
want to
was-
take breaks.
That- yeah.
You want to be healthy about it. You want to take breaks. You want to take the vitamins, the serotonin, mood builders that you need.
Dude,
all
that's
that
the
stuff.
thing, man.
Being as careful as possible, knowing your own biochemistry.
But is it being careful? Yes, being careful, but it's like something that you're doing for your mental health too. Like
Yeah.
I think of it as taking a vitamin. I think of it as that, and then the recovery is the rest. It's like the
Yeah.
vitamin is working, and it needs you to rest in order
Wow.
to take this.
Yeah, medicine.
And the reason why it knocks you on your ass is because you have to integrate everything that it's given you.
Well, that
Like,
was the thing.
You have to sleep it and let it inside, let it absorb, dream it out, sleep it out,
Punch
and then
me in the face.
Yeah,
All those things.
sorry.
It's okay.
Sorry.
You have to let everybody know what that means. I don't just punch you in the face, right?
When we went to Dick's after the show, we were both exhausted. And we'd partied really hard, and we get back to the hotel room, and we turn out the lights in the hotel, and we get in the bed was so comfortable. It's like 8,000
Yeah,
pillows
the
deep,
beds
and
were so
so
comfortable.
squishy and warm. And it's dark, and we're high and exhausted, and I'm just drifting off. And Melanie does this thing where when she's falling asleep and she's high, she talks, but she doesn't know she's
Allegedly.
talking, and she'll just be like, "I was going drawing the paper and says, oh, with the thing, I just shut up."
Ramble on.
And then she's moving her arms at the same time she's talking with her hands in her sleep, punching me in the face and kicking me and shoving me. So, and I'm laying there
Sounds
like
peaceful.
I'm like trying to drift off, and I'm listening. At 22 years in, it's like it's story time for me. I'm just gonna listen to the story as I drift off into sleep, and no, the knee in the back and the fingernails down my back, or the straight up fist into the small of my back, and then I'm like, okay, fine. So I scoot over, and what does she do? Scoots in and
following you. Where you going?
Bam, bam. But I love it.
So is it like a state of semi-consciousness?
No, she's out, dude.
Like dream, like sleepwalking almost.
I think it's like somnambulance
What the
hallucination.
You just made that shit.
No, like sleep,
No. He does that
sleep
all the
hallucination.
I'm just fucking with it.
It's-
Oh, that's crazy.
It's like sleep hallucination.
Somatic?
Damn.
Somatic hallucination, yeah. And it's the funniest shit ever.
Well,
But
I'm not around for that, but
what you're talking about is
But
also
you're
one of
welcome.
the reasons that I'm saying what I'm saying about this show is like I've come to a point with my health to where it doesn't fucking wreck me the way it used to. And I take vitamins regularly. I exercise.
We've continued
I eat better.
to get healthier.
And you look good, baby.
Thank you.
I think you have a psychic agreement with yourself that you're choosing to go down that pathway.
Yep.
So there's a level of understanding that's going to happen, and then
Yeah.
I wish you guys could see because I'm both hands.
He
at Bryn
looks like
yes.
an airplane is coming in on a hangar.
Yeah.
So there, I feel
Clear
like
for
that.
landing.
I mean, it still might kick your ass, but at the same time, there's
Like,
that
we signed
understanding
on
of,
for
like,
this.
We're doing this.
Yeah.
And so there's a level of.
You even got the
and
glow
I
back
know
in your
how to,
skin.
Like,
recover.
And if you do it enough times, the ass kicking, you're like, all right, whatever.
yeah, that's true
You're
too.
just like, it's
I'm
gonna
sorry, I
happen.
got to interrupt for a second. Did you start the cornbread writer? Sorry.
Dinner's cooking, you guys. This is important.
I meant to tell you at the same time.
Hey, Ryder,
doing
did you
that,
start
we
the
need to get it
cornbread?
ready.
Just in case you guys are wondering what's for dinner, we're having barbecued chicken, cornbread, beans,
Yeah.
and Hasselback
David
potatoes.
Hasselhoff potatoes.
Don't hassle the Hoff.
All right. Anyway, yeah, it's a whole thing, and that whole psychic agreement thing is definitely something that's consciously been in my head this summer. The most is like, dude, you signed on for this. Like, that's it. This is what you do, and it's okay, and you have to make yourself heal and do the things you need to do to continue doing the job that you've chosen for yourself.
Right.
Well,
I
if you
feel like
oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that I feel like String Cheese also gave me a boost, and I feel like their music is meaning to elevate people to their next highest level, whatever that is in their life.
Absolutely.
And I know we were talking in the kitchen about, your business, Bryn, and I felt it on a personal level myself. Like, yes, this is time to just elevate yourself to another level. It's not, better than anybody else's. It's just your different level, your elevated self.
Right.
It's that you can't compete with it because it's only you, and only you know what you need to get through to that next stage. And whether it's studying, or whether it's like focusing, or whether it's pulling back, or putting your chips all in, like only you know what that is.
Right. And it starts with that uncovering, remembering what your divine purpose is. And that was why I guess that song I mentioned being the very last song of those shows, being like, this is the story of how we begin to remember. And I was looking around at all of us dancing and then playing their hearts out. And it was like, we're here to do that. We're here so we can all remember why we're here and what our purpose is in order to lift each other up and bring each other to that next level.
And get to heaven on earth, which we talked about.
And that's a whole other episode.
You can remind him, Jake.
Yeah,
you can
remind
spank
him,
him with
Jake.
that.
Look,
Here, turn the mic so you could sit back and relax and tell the people what's up.
Tell
I
him.
was on No Simple Road episode number 48. And we spent a big chunk of time.
Me too.
It's like he knows every year.
I remember.
He's the number guy.
I know so much stuff.
He does.
also very humble.
I'm just kidding, people.
No, it's true. You never cease to amaze.
But no, you know what? That's the
Anyway,
elevation.
let's
Go
not
ahead.
interrupt Jake.
Yes,
Go
ahead.
ahead, Jake.
Thank you.
Episode number 48.
And I really we take the time, we flesh out a lot of different amazing perspectives, and it was right when I met these guys, so it's like all super fresh and amazing. We all became super good friends at that moment, I feel like, and but really, we're all working towards something. We all have a goal, but then if you think about the human as one organism, right? All of us, okay, so just imagine all of humanity just this one being, and you want that being to set goals, right? Because you're in a microcosm, macrocosm kind of sense. You need to set goals to succeed. So here's this human organism that also needs to set goals to succeed. It's just a formula. It's just like law. It's energy. So the goal of the human is to take this canvas, this third dimension, and this planet we live on Earth, and really make it the best possible place we can make it, with our manifestation power, with our love, with our understanding of our resonance with divine energy, and just opening up to unlimited potential and realizing that there's no dystopian scenario that's ever going to manifest. There's only one direction that we're going, and that's to this, place where in these physical bodies we can exist together in a non-conflict scenario.
So then is all this stuff that's happening part of it?
Yeah, it's all working towards that. As these shows happen, as people resonate with these higher energies via psychedelics or even just dancing and having a great time and meeting cool people, they open up a little bit more. The frequency shifts a little bit more, and that affects that greater being. And that greater being evolves.
Shit.
And the thing is that, you know, all of our goals, every single human being that has goals should always have the one overarching goal that transcends their other goals. In the back of their mind, they're like, I want to start a business. I'm going to do all these things. But the goal is, when my business is successful, I'm going to help other people. I'm going to do good things so we can make it to this heaven on earth scenario.
So if we were all doing that, then it would be this like giant pond ripple effect thing.
A giant group
over and over
manifestation.
and over again of everybody raising each other's frequencies.
Sure, and you think
Or
about
situations.
yeah, and you think about the 100th monkey thing, where
Just gonna
if
say
enough
that.
people raise their
Right.
frequency, but even if that's not the case, we can still get everybody on board because of our interconnectedness. It's possible. It's possible.
But
It's actually not possible. It's definitely going to happen.
there's a movie that's out right now called Fantastic Fungi,
Okay.
and it's
Paul
Paul
Stamets?
Stamets.
Oh, yeah.
And
Bryn's all about mushrooms. She took
dude,
a lot of mushroom classes.
this movie
Amazing
looks
lady.
amazing. I haven't gone and seen it yet, but in the trailer for the movie, one of the things that stuck in my head, and this is not a direct quote, but basically that psychedelics are a technology that's responsible for helping the evolution of the human mind. And if that's the case, what you're talking about is exactly that, because if I, Aaron, this physical body that identifies as Aaron, takes psychedelics, is part of this greater human being that's all one thing, then that being is evolving its thought through me. Right.
It's like that's the mycelial network, and we're the fruiting bodies. It's like that's all connected.
You plugged in and
underground.
heard the message.
You plugged into the
and are
mycelium.
now operating on that message's frequency. Like,
Mm-hmm.
oh yeah, this was our job. Okay, let's do this.
One thing I want to point out too, because we talk about psychedelics, I mean, we're all grown ups. We go to these shows. There's a lot of people that don't. I work with a lot of people that are good friends and stuff that are, you know, that like, oh, it's hippie stuff. You guys are just doing drugs and stuff. If you've never been to a show and seen what I love the most to see, and you guys do it, you have your kids along. There's babies there. They're not taking drugs, and you see these kids' joy and the dancing and the freeness of the face painting and wearing wings and dressing like
there's
a
a lot of sober
unicorn.
parents
We did
there.
that
Yeah,
for
there's a
years
lot of
and years
sober
and years.
parents and
I mean,
stuff, and I
that's-
just
yeah.
see that happening more with this. That these kids all being, we say it all the time. It's like, holy shit! Wait to see what that kid's like in another 10 years. These kids are raised in this free environment. It's becoming normal to them. What we talk about, that, you know, it's harder for us to achieve that, but they're
Weren't brought up in that paradigm.
yeah, we weren't.
Yeah.
And
Well,
they
they
are,
understand
and there's some amazing.
Yeah, because there's a
amazing
lot of
stuff
people at these
happening.
shows.
and
That's
there's
a lot of kids.
There's a
Yeah.
lot of different ways to raise your consciousness too. You can sit in cold water. You can breathe. You can do yoga.
gosh,
you
there's
can,
so many
This
things.
just happens
You
to
can
be.
run, right?
You can
talked
run.
about
We were
earlier.
just talking about how running is psychedelic for me. Like, there's
Yeah.
a lot of different pathways. This is my path that I'm talking about. This isn't
Everybody has their
exclusive.
own. Yeah.
The only way. There's many.
Well,
many
as,
paths.
as Apple was saying about the kids, you know, they get to experience just adults in their turn
in their kid
with their flip
form.
switch on. We talked about that at Summer Meltdown, where people turn on a switch and they get in a higher frequency, and they see them in that frequency, and they're able to just be like, have a different paradigm to contrast with. They have this, you know, the outer paradigm that everyone listens
Yeah,
to.
how
They
do
see this other paradigm. They're like, wait,
Who said they
different
have to
set of
act
rules.
like adults? What does that even fucking mean?
Well, it's just self-defined by culture, but they see this other culture existing with a different paradigm and different rules. And
So how do they
Very
respond to
different
that?
You guys know
even
firsthand.
On
Yeah.
a more superficial level of not even feeling the frequencies of the adults, but just seeing, like, instead of the adult is always the teacher, the grocery store worker, the librarian, the whatever.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, that
In
dude's
this
wearing a
world,
unicorn suit, and
They're
this
just one of
lady's,
our friends,
you know,
and we love that.
yeah, they see that you can do anything and you can be anyone and you can do this on the weekdays and then you can go wear a unicorn suit on Saturday and it's all good.
And-
it's not like
So it's
you
like
don't ever
total.
have to give up.
I'm gonna start having to dress like a unicorn.
You
There's
don't have to give up that joy and that fun. It doesn't.
And here's the thing, they get, as we've always talked about, the jam band scene, this kind of psychedelic subculture is a modern manifestation of the old mystery schools, right? Because you have psychedelic experience, you get to interact with divine frequencies and also get exposed to really esoteric, amazing information through really cool people. So having kids at these festivals, you know, they get exposed to that mystery school information. They hear the esoteric theories and hear tripping hippies talking about really deep things, and they're there in their lawn chairs just listening, you know? So that is really amazing.
See,
for
but
me.
there's something that I wonder about that, because I've had that thought about the mystery schools and these shows and psychedelics and that same thing. But the mystery schools that were gated. It wasn't, first of all, it wasn't open to anybody.
Of course,
just
yeah.
anybody. You had to be invited to go. Second, there were, and still is, levels of initiation into those things. You don't give the whole picture at the beginning to somebody that can't understand what the whole picture is in the first place. And I wonder if that correlates, because this is open to everybody. Anybody can come to a show and do the thing.
Yeah, it's amazing. That's the
It's time
best
for
part.
it to be that way.
You think?
And with the internet and all the, you know, esoteric
That makes
knowledge
sense.
and lost texts and stuff that are available online and so easily accessible, it's just all that knowledge needs to be out in the public. You know, the core, the light, the love-based knowledge, you know, not like the darker shit, but like the good aspects of that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a bad thing. It's just something that I've thought of, because I've had that same realization, like, whoa, this is that. But I think maybe what you're saying is true. Like, at some point, you kind of need to remove the gate.
Well, it's like Bruce Lee. It's like an interesting metaphor. It's like he got in trouble, you know, because he taught people the secret art of karate that he was taught, that he wasn't supposed to reveal to Westerners.
Share with it.
Yeah, and that he did that. He, you know, supposedly there's conspiracy theories that say that's why he got killed. But in reality, you know, it's there now. Like, it's out in the open. Part of the psychedelic movement was freeing the reins of that knowledge, because when you take a psychedelic drug, it gives you that knowledge whether you're ready for it or not. And if you are ready for it, even in the slightest, then you can process that and grow from it. And then next time you get more, and next time you understand more, and you can expand in that way. But, you know, it's just, in order for us to all evolve and to get to that heaven on earth scenario, that knowledge just has to be available to everyone, because it has to be incorporated into the actual core of how we live.
Yeah. And I guess if you think about it like the body, like a human body, the liver does what the liver does, the kidneys do what the kidneys do. There's no part of function in the body that's hidden from any other part of the body. It just does what it does, and it knows what it knows for each part. So it's not like there's any gate or initiation for your kidneys to know what they need to do. They just do their fucking thing. Right. And I guess that makes sense. I guess maybe in the past it was used as a mechanism for power and control. And there's no need for that right now. Or not no need. It's getting closer. Time is going faster. I don't know if you guys experience this, but and I heard this
definitely going faster.
I heard this from my dad.
Yeah.
He's like, as you get older, time goes faster. And I've thought about that a lot as I'm getting closer to 50. I wonder if that phenomenon is because there's less in front of you than there is behind you.
Oh yeah, I think that has a big part to do with it. Because my dad he's trying to say, "Oh, I'm middle aged," and my dad's almost 80. I'm like, "Oh, so you're gonna live to be 160?" I mean, I hope so. Shit, who knows?
Good
But
attitude.
yeah, I feel. I mean, I'm past middle age. I'm 50. I don't be a miracle if I live to be 100. I mean, God, I hope so. But yeah, I think that's it too. You see, that's getting shorter. You're getting closer to the finish line.
You know, I was talking about this with my dad this morning when we were getting coffee, coincidentally.
Really?
Yeah. And
Oh, wow.
what I told him is that, you know, there's the potential that time is linked to information, which is linked to evolution, right? So if we're speeding up information, right, through internet and various means, then we're also speeding up in our evolution, which is fixed to a certain time.
Right.
So because we're speeding up information, then we're speeding up our evolution, then time itself is speeding up to match our evolutionary point. I don't know, it's one theory.
It's like it's like that new Mercury Fish song, and there's a lyric in there that your day is longer than your year. And that's a real phenomenon for me. A day can seem like forever, but remembering a year is a moment.
Well, yeah.
It's really interesting.
I remember that when we all had young children, other moms would say that to me. They'd be like, the days are long, but the years are short.
Yeah.
Like the long day of, whatever. But it's funny, this is a dad conversation because my dad had a conversation with me about this recently as well. And his perspective was that because when you're 10 years old, a year is a 10th of your life. Or, that you're...
Yeah.
And so when you're 50, a year is a 50th of your life.
So it's a
changes
blink.
your perspective on how long that time is, and that's.
Mel just walked out onto the porch. She's been gone for a minute, guys. If you wonder why she wasn't saying anything,
She needed to put on her
and
little
she just
suit.
came out in a Wookiee onesie. So Mel's a Wook,
and she's nice and toasted.
Oh, that wasn't good.
and she's having some bread.
She is
Welcome
not
back,
cold.
Mel.
Well, earlier I had an edible while we were at lunch, and it started to kick in right before we started recording. And
What kind of edible did you have?
those little hard candies that you gave me for my birthday.
Oh, the little buku candies.
Yeah.
Buku
So,
Dolores.
I don't know what you guys were talking about.
We're talking about how time is going faster because we're getting older. Maybe.
Time's going faster only because you're saying it.
What? Explain that to
Boom.
the folks.
No,
out
drop
there.
the mic.
You talking about all this
Cricket.
manifestation stuff and how strong the power of the word is and how everything counts. And you think that by saying things consistently, you're not fulfilling those things consistently.
Yeah, but isn't that an observation?
No, it's not. It's a statement.
That's why we always say, don't say because I'm old, or like you were saying.
You
Your dad
start
says he's
things
still
in a
middle-aged.
yeah.
You
Yeah.
can put
It's
yourself
how
where
you
wanna
frame
be.
things. And so if you say it's so fast, I'm so tired, I'm so anything, or it puts focus on that thing. And you do need focus for the thing that you want, but it's in another way. You don't need to act like you're so dire for it, or if you don't get it, like you can't have anything. It's not like that. It's like living in the affirmative.
No, I think you misunderstand. Maybe what we're talking about is like not, oh God, it's going so fast. What do we do? It's observing that
Time is going
time
by.
is going
Time does
faster.
go by
yeah,
faster.
not
But isn't
pining,
it perspective?
but
It's
not
like that
pining
young
away.
girl we saw
She's saying
today.
it might manifest because we're thinking it is going fast. Because
Yes.
we're just saying it is,
Yes.
and then because we're saying it is,
That's
then
how
it
you
is.
see it.
But if we say time's going backwards, look, time's going backwards when Bitcoin
try
was
that.
$4 a coin, and I'm buying 10,000. Okay?
Time's
Keep
going
saying
backwards.
that. Yeah, yes, time's going backwards.
Time's going backwards.
Look how young you look, Bryn.
Give me all the Bitcoin.
Wow. How did we get there?
Oh, we were talking about manifestation, all that blah, 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 blah.
Manifestation.
I'm going to say, what I wanted to say is I love string cheese. I think that they're
I love
great.
them too.
And after interviewing Jason, I tuned in to his music that night, and I was flabbergasted. I couldn't believe the sounds that were all separate that came together that hit me like that made me feel a certain way while experiencing this beautiful weather, friends, costumes, elation, feel like a job well done, proud, happy for where I'm at, like celebratory. Like it was the biggest bow on the most beautiful whip you could ever have. You know what I mean? Like, here you go, package beautiful life and a great summer and nice music, and here's another spiritual boost and like it was beautiful. It wasn't like you guys said earlier, nurturing, soothing, like
they were great shows.
everything.
And for me, it was my 20th anniversary of my first String Cheese
happy
show
anniversary.
ever. And I just remember being that hippie flopping around on the lawn on some really good liquid I found in the lot, like just like Phil and Friends and String Cheese and Government Mule was there as well. And then 20 years later to be hanging out with these amazing people from No Simple Road, getting to be a guest commentator, getting to ask a few questions to
oh my gosh, thank you so much for doing that with us, Jake. That I told, well, we all felt like this, right? Because we talked about it, that if you weren't there
was no doubt about it. It was never even
it was
discussed.
meant
It's like,
always
Jake's
for you to be on there. It wasn't like, oh, should it happen? No, like Jake needs to be with us during this interview period.
It was good to have somebody with some background knowledge. That way I can support you guys, you know, when you need help with some of their history and stuff.
Yeah.
And
Look, then, just because we're a music podcast, we're new to a lot
We're
of this
learning
stuff
all the time.
It was
Man,
just really
you
cool
can't
20
be
years
at every
later.
band show all the
and
time.
every band can't be your favorite either.
No.
I had to make sure I made sure these guys saw
Well,
String
I
Cheese.
am not missing this.
No, they're there
Well,
forever
that's
now.
it.
They're on the bus.
And
Busing.
to see that night, to meet Jason before the
Yes.
show, and then to see that drums thing they did the first night.
They played drums that night?
Yeah, it's all. If you go back and listen to the show, it's amazing. Well, he was going off on the drums for like
Right
10
on.
They did a
minutes or
really amazing, heartwarming ripple, which I thought was so cool. On Saturday,
it's
as a
on Saturday
tribute
night, huh?
to Robert Hunter on Saturday. Yeah, that was super sweet.
You know, we haven't really talked about that on the show. I'm glad you brought that up. It's been a really weird month and a half for the community with
How so?
with the death of Neil,
Yeah.
and then right on the heels of that, Hunter passing away. And a lot of people, including myself, are and were very emotionally affected by what happened. Those that, you know, without what Hunter did, I don't really know if I'd be sitting right here right now. Honest to God.
There wouldn't have been that music.
There wouldn't have been that first
scene.
Grateful Dead show, and you could argue that it would have been something else, but it wasn't.
No, his
It-
lyrics
it
brought
was-
everything to
It
the
was
table.
that,
Yeah.
and
Him and Jerry, that's
That
symbiosis.
duo.
There
that
was
synthesis.
there was an alchemical something that happened between those words and the energy of Garcia that did something to multitudes of people. And
They were each other's muse.
yeah, and he was a prophet in a lot of ways for all the things that we're discussing tonight. He was very, very much so prophetic in his writing, in the way that he could elucidate the psychedelic experience on multiple levels at the same time with a single line, where it means
they're
one
so
thing.
vast.
Yeah, it means one thing, and then you hear it altered, and it means something completely different in a completely different way.
To everybody.
To everybody.
Hears it
Yes.
in their own unique way. Yeah.
So
I
there's-
wish you guys could have heard that one. I thought about you and they played it. It was really beautiful.
Thanks for thinking of us. We
And
were
you know,
there.
he was a great performer as well in his
Mhm.
own music, and also he wrote songs for. I think he wrote at least one song for String Cheese Incident that I know of. I know he wrote
The
songs
45th of November?
yeah, and he-
25th of November?
The one
or-
that, the one that him and Kyle did together.
Yeah,
It's-
and
it's
then he
November.
wrote songs
Right.
for the Seven Walkers, and and another one of Bill Kreutz's brands, the Trichromes. He was a great songwriter. He gave us a lot. I'm actually bummed that you guys don't get to interview him. To be completely honest, like that,
Me too.
I was
we were,
devastated.
We were just talking, like you said,
I felt devastated, and guys, look, No Simple Road listeners, maybe you can help me. I don't know. But I'm encouraging these guys to contact some of the old guard people that are kind of like have a lot of cool stories to tell. If you're one of those people listening, you can always just contact Aaron.
It's not hard.
It's not that hard at all. And then
info
you can
at
just,
nosimpleroad.com.
Well, you know what I think would be great is to have the people that are involved in the scene that are the higher ups, meaning the people that have been there the longest. That's not necessarily higher or lower, but just the people that have
talk to some of the
years.
pranksters.
It'd be great to have you guys on the show because this is kind of encyclopedic at this point. You know, like
I know it is for me.
Yeah,
it's a storehouse of knowledge. I mean, as each person comes on, they add their stories.
I was going to mention a minute ago too, on a like different level, but the same thing with Ginger Baker passed away.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he was 80. He lived a long life. I mean, talk about one of the most amazing drummers ever. Madman.
But taking it back to Hunter, like seriously, man, those songs are living things. They're alive, and they change and evolve and morph and affect people in this really crazy fundamental way. And I told Apple today, we were listening to, I don't remember what song it was. It was a Dead and Company song on satellite. And I was like, you know what, dude? Say what you will about tempo and management and whatever with Dead and Company. I get DMs almost weekly from people that are just now getting turned on by that music. They're getting their faces fucking melted. And the magic is still there. It's still happening. The same exact thing that happened to me 30 whatever years ago is happening to those 20 somethings in the arenas right now, today, with that music.
And that music too is being played. It is probably some of the most alive music that Robert Hunter wrote, because look how many bands around this country, this world, on a daily basis are playing these songs in their own way.
Yeah.
It's
always playing somewhere.
It's always playing somewhere.
That's true.
That's a trip. Think about that as
he's not gone. He left us his whole
so
brain.
alive.
Yeah.
His heart and his soul is what he left us.
Think about that in magical.
That doesn't make you feel better.
His vehicle stopped, but everything else is here with us.
Think about that in magical terms of like a sigil.
Wait, so you are not your body? Is that what you're
Yeah.
saying?
No.
Yeah.
Not only.
Think about that like a sigil, like you put your energy and into this thing and then send it out into the world to do something, and it's charged with other people's energy by them looking at it or doing it or whatever. That magic that's in those songs is constantly being charged and functionally maneuvered and explored and made larger. Every second of every day in every city in the country, there's a Grateful Dead cover band playing, I would think. Most everywhere.
There's even one in Japan. I was in line for a Phil and Friends show once at Red Rocks, and there was this Japanese crew there, and there was this girl and her boyfriend and their friend from Japan, and they flew out for the Phil shows, and she's like, look at these pictures. And she shows me these pictures, and it was a Japanese Grateful Dead festival. All the bands were Japanese, and there was silk screens of Jerry Garcia on both sides of the stage with some Japanese writing.
What?
And and it was near Mount Fuji, and the whole thing was Japanese. And they said
shout out to Chi-Chi's.
And that's
in
funny
Japan.
you say that. One of our friends.
I don't know where that is.
It's a Grateful Dead store in Japan.
Oh, wow, Chi-Chi's.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
One of our friends, too, Nina, that I worked with in the cannabis industry, she sent a picture like a couple weeks ago. She was driving in traffic, took a picture of the back of a car, and she lives in Japan by Mount Fuji, and she took a picture of a car. It was like, you guys are everywhere, and it was Dead stickers all over the back. And there was some of them were like Japanese writing, said things. So it was like, oh, hell yeah.
So the moral to the story is we're really grateful, no pun intended,
Definitely,
for Hunter.
And thank you, Robert Hunter,
Thank
because
you,
you can
Hunter.
hear us now all over.
Changing our world. this world was
'cause
changing.
everyone who's listening and everyone who's on this porch has had an intimate experience with Robert Hunter that's heard his music.
Yeah.
Seriously, because these are those when you listen to whatever song, that internal like tennis match that happens, that he brings you the lyrics and you have that emotional response, then it's like back and forth, you know? He says something else in the second verse and you're like, oh my God, now he's taking you on a ride. And here Jerry is with all this amazing music to take you there sweetly.
And I'm really glad he got to have a song written with String Cheese because, you know, they're still out there playing and it's just kind of continues that legacy. I feel like they're the most adequate representation of the complete vibe that we have as a family in our scene. Like, you know, there's a lot of different bands with very specific vibes, but to me, they're like the jam band's jam band. You know, they have a little bit of everything and more, and
like
they're
that.
the most adequate representation of us.
That's
Now.
I'd agree with that after we went there with you, because now it sounds, earlier today when you came walking, and now I listen to them all the time. It sounds, I liked them
That's a
before,
trip.
but now it sounds complete. Me and Aaron are talking about, sounds completely different.
Oh yeah.
I don't
A lot
know.
of the songs I've already heard, it sounds
I
so
don't know what the
different.
fuck that
It
is.
sounded,
You fell in love with it.
no,
Mhm.
dude.
Yes,
sound-
Jake is right.
Yeah,
because
you're right.
think about it.
That's true.
When
but
you see something and then you see its beauty
and you
it's
feel it,
different.
and then you feel it.
Yeah,
when you
it's
see that
different.
live, I
'cause,
don't know.
I mean, you're a perfect example of this, dude. Trying to turn somebody on to the music that's not into it with live recordings, maybe. But then they go to a show and they're like, oh, shit. And the music sounds different for the rest of your life. And then it's like this. You listen to String Cheese, you're like, fuck yeah, they jam. I love it. I listen to it all the time. Then you go to a show and now the music sounds completely different. Like, I'll never figure out what that is. It's happened with every band that we've gone
There's
to
no
see.
reason to question it because it's
No,
awesome.
it's
It's just like
fucking
fucking
rad.
rad.
It's a cool
I need
little
to-
secret.
You know what happens? It's like, I need to go see more bands,
Yeah.
more shows that I have not seen. Like, I can't, like we were just talking about that on the last one.
We're gonna go see the
Can't
Shook
wait
Twins.
to see Widespread Panic.
Billy
Oh, yeah.
Strings.
That we got to see them. It's
We miss Billy Strings and you
Yeah,
do.
I know. We were at String Cheese.
yeah, we were
Yeah.
at String Cheese.
So, like, yeah.
All right.
I just want to say thank you, Jason, for, if you're listening, for one, taking the
listening.
time out, for two, giving us such a special night that night with
Yeah,
your
brother.
playing and just introducing us to a beautiful vibe and all of your, like, he has had so much experience with different things, and the Dr. Dre thing, we didn't even get to talk
and
about
Voodoo.
it.
I want to talk to him about
Yes.
Voodoo.
That's why he's coming back. He's
That's
coming
right.
back.
We got,
Come
So-
back and talk more.
Yeah, so Jason, come
Thanks,
back.
man. Yeah, come on back, brother.
Whenever you have time.
So,
And,
hey
bring
guys,
your band with you and play some more
Yeah.
shows.
Yeah.
At, venue
Yes.
in,
I'm just
our-
gonna-
in
I'm
the
just gonna
Pacific
throw out White
Northwest
Horse
and,
anyway,
You know, we are still, you know, some friends and I that have thrown shows in the past and put on events. We're pulling some things together to potentially throw something
Whoa.
at White Horse Mountain Amphitheater, but it takes a little bit of agreement. We'll see what happens. I got a little
you
deadline,
never know.
You never know.
but we're working hard to revive
Yeah.
Also-
the Hornings Hideout situation. in the
Also,
Northwest.
thanks, Jake and Bryn, for
Taking a-
first telling us about it, turning us on, giving us lessons, the whole nine, having the family out there, taking us to a badass breakfast place in the morning.
the best.
Shout out to
Shopping.
Morning Glory.
Morning
It was
Glory.
so
Morning
good,
Glory.
organic, fucking amazing.
It was
Glory always
so
comes
good. Yes.
So,
Indeed.
before we get to the interview, I'm going to do the business. I'm going to do it fast.
Why?
I don't know, because I feel like it.
Okay.
Okay.
Because dinner's almost ready. We have Hasselhoff potatoes.
Hasselhoff. Okay.
Follow us on all the social media platforms at No Simple Road. Join the No Simple Road family group on Facebook if you haven't already done so. Or if you're not into Facebook and you play in the sandbox over on Reddit, check out the No Simple Road page on Reddit. And guess what, everybody?
Discord?
We do have a Discord server. And that's not what I was going to say. We have a bunch of new merch available. If you go to
Oh, yeah,
nosimpleroad.com
guys.
and you go to the gear tab up there at the top in the menu, we got No Simple Road hand logo shirts in black and a bunch of different colors. We have No Simple Road hoodies available. We also have a Bertha designed or Bertha designed No Simple Road shirt that I designed with the deadbolt on the front of the shirt and logos down the sleeves. That's really fucking awesome. I love that shirt. I can't wait till I get mine.
Can't wait to get my white one.
Yep. And what, Jake?
Do you guys take cryptocurrency?
I don't know.
Why shouldn't we?
Do you got like on your website?
I don't have a.
You need to. Let's get on that.
All right, let me look into that.
All right.
I'll work on that.
Ripple, dude. It's the Jerry coin. Ripple.
Dude,
I'm just kidding.
I'm not even going to get started because I bought some of that shit and
Aaron
You
also
bought too
made
high.
some of his own Ripple money.
Hey, I mined Bitcoin.
yeah.
It was fun.
so yeah, go get yourself some merch, man. Because when you're at that next show and you're wearing that No Simple Road shirt, and then that other
Aw.
person that's wearing the No Simple Road shirt sees you, and you guys look at each other, and you have that knowing look, and you're like, oh shit, you're a crew within the crew, and then you guys are fucking family at a
Yeah.
show dancing together.
A deeper
And
family.
the hats with your guys' little faces.
Yeah.
Oh, the beanie. I'm
We
gonna.
got-
yeah.
Well, the beanies aren't up right now.
They're not?
I
Okay.
had somebody purchased one, and we're letting it go to him, and we're going to see how it comes out. He's going to let me know. So stand by for the beanies.
Please stand by.
Yeah.
Stand by.
And hey guys,
And you guys need to let us know if you get your merch. There's anything wrong with it. Let us know ASAP. DM us and let us know.
yeah, because we'll make it right.
Yep.
Yeah, this isn't about trying to do anything.
Well, yeah,
funky.
we want you guys to
Yeah,
represent.
and we need to know this is something new.
Yeah.
We're
Mhm.
ordering
Yep.
things ourselves.
Yeah, man. And there's going to be more stuff coming. I'm going to do things that make sense. You know, things that you'll use. Coffee cups.
All right.
Come on, dude. Stop making sense.
Ooh,
Apple,
that was
man,
good.
terrible.
Wow. Okay.
Thanks, Jake. Jake,
I thought
Jake,
I thought that
Jake
was
got
funny.
it. Thanks, brother.
I love David.
I want
Byrne.
to tell you guys one other thing. There's something coming
and then
up.
another thing. No,
There's
just
coming up, and on the 28th. Hang on a second. Stand by.
Please stand by.
Here we go. On October 28th and 29th, live at the Chapel in San Francisco, Ethan Miller, Adam McDougall, Isaiah Mitchell, Austin Bede, and Dan Horn are playing a 50th anniversary tribute to Oxamoxa and Live Dead.
I'm there.
What?
Sign me up.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. That's the thing you said you'd give your limb for, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I would actually cut off a limb to go down there.
I mean,
Let's
I
go.
think
Where is it again?
you should
In San
probably
Francisco.
Keep all your limbs.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
If you're
It's
in the
only
Bay
a-
Area or you're willing to travel, I think that might be the best show of the year as far as Grateful Dead stuff is concerned.
And it's
That-
October?
October 28th and 29th.
okay.
Let's just hope they
Chapel.
stream it. If you're listening, people, we'll
And-
pay for the web stream.
And that
Come on.
venue is amazing. And so just want to tell you guys about that. And also, you know what? We need your help. Go to patreon.com/No Simple Road and become a Chan donator with
Chandonate.
No Simple Road. You guys, that's how we pay for everything over here. That's how we continue doing
And
the
thank
show.
you, by the way, for helping us to pay for our show.
And we have a new Patreon subscriber.
Wow.
Coyote.
Generous.
Coyote. Thank you, Coyote.
He pledged his favorite number, and I'm not going to shout it out, but he pledged
Oh.
his favorite number.
See, that's fun.
Yep.
Play with it, guys.
And we
Do something
appreciate you, man.
cute.
And Coyote, you did something really cool the other night. You left your house while your family was making dinner at dinner time, at traffic time in Portland, to drive chanterelle mushrooms over to our house.
Wow.
And give us a big bag.
And
Hand-picked.
stickers and pins and magnets.
Which
and
we'll
much
give you
love.
guys a couple when you leave.
So you guys should
Wow.
all follow Get Inverted on Instagram, because that is a soul brother over there, and he is super cool.
A total. I'm sorry I missed that.
So thanks, Coyote. We appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
We love you.
And that is patreon.com/No Simple Road. You can pledge as little as $1 a month,
Cute dollars.
or $5,000 a month, and we will
Cute
physically come
$5,000.
to your house and hug you and make you dinner if you did that.
No.
If you're open
Hell
to that.
yeah, I
You
would.
wouldn't-
If somebody
If they're
pledged
open
$5,000
to
a
it.
month, I will go to their house and make them
if they
dinner.
Okay, I
didn't
guess I
want us
wasn't really
to-
paying attention to what you said. And I was like, no.
Yes.
I just thought it
Well,
was
we're not just going to go
irrational.
over and barge in if you
No,
don't want
invite
us to.
Dinner
You
and
know.
dessert.
Yeah, and dessert and coffee. I make good coffee too. So patreon.com/No Simple Road. That was the third time. Now it's stuck in your
Okay.
head.
Enough's
And leave the
enough.
5-star reviews. On,
we didn't have new ones. Sorry.
and leave the 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts and tell your friends about the show. That is the single most important thing that you can do.
sure.
You guys all know someone else. Nobody is sitting in a cave listening to No Simple Road. I don't think it's happening right now. And if you
But if you are,
hey, what's up?
tell the other people
Tell
in
the
your
bears.
cave.
Well,
Like,
this is what
hey,
I do. Okay, I tell my friends that they say I love podcasts. It's like, look, this is amazing podcast. This is our podcast. You need to tell your friends. You need to tell your family, people you haven't talked to in a while. Facebook, Instagram. Look, calling all cars. We need to get this out there.
Calling all
Boom.
cars.
Let's just spread
Let
the word.
someone
That's
know.
word of mouth because it's an amazing podcast. That's why I listen to it personally. I personally listen to this podcast if I didn't even know
I
these
do
guys.
too, actually.
I would be listening to this
I do
podcast
too.
because it's a great podcast.
Thanks, Jake.
Tell your friends.
Tell a friend.
Tell everyone.
All right.
Tell a friend.
So
It's always good to talk to your friends.
we love you
Yeah.
guys.
We love you all.
Okay,
Love
so
you.
there's
Love you.
been a lot of anniversaries. So I want to leave it coming out like this, like Jake and Jake and Bryn.
Breaking gin.
Breaking the gin.
Breaking
When I
the
say
gin.
it right, I feel like I've said it wrong now because we've joked about it so much. What? And I'm saying this because Sid's getting married soon, and I want to hear about love. So,
So you're gonna
Jake.
put us on the spot about love.
yeah, tell me something great about
11
love.
years.
Yeah.
October 11th is our 11-year anniversary, and I'm so proud and I'm so enamored with my goddess that I get to live with.
But what's your favorite thing about love?
My favorite thing about love is the elevating symbiosis, that feeling of resonance with something bigger than yourself and also another human, which is so awesome.
That's a good
That
thing.
was like
How
no
much-
lag in the vag.
I
That was
know.
just like boom.
I know now. I'm
How do you follow that up?
I don't know. Okay. All right.
Brent's like, he
Aaron, what's
says
your
that
favorite thing
crap all
about
the
love?
time.
We'll skip Bryn for a minute.
I
Let her
love the
collect her thoughts.
symbiosis between you and
You know, I think about the great couples.
When
I
we turn
always,
into one,
when
it's
I was
really
single, when I was single, I used to think about people like, well, Phil and Jill Lesh after reading Phil's book, and then people like Johnny Cash, and June Carter. You know, I used to think of those couples where there was this love. You know, even though Johnny Cash was a crazy fuck sometimes, like she stuck with him. You know,
Yeah.
and like you want that.
even
that
though Aaron
soulmate,
was a
that-
crazy
It was a
fuck
beautiful
sometimes.
love.
yeah,
Yeah,
that
stuck with him.
spiritual feeling, and you know, and I read a lot
I have
about
stuck with you.
Phil and Jill Lesh's relationship in that book, and that I always felt like that was so inspiring for me. I was like, man, I really want that. I want that June Carter experience. I want that Jill Lesh experience. I want that person that's because Phil, you know, he just said so much amazing stuff about how much he loved his wife in his book. I remember distinctly, and I just always wanted. And then when I met Bryn, I mean, that's an amazing story. That could be a whole podcast in itself.
Did
But,
we tell it on that?
you know, it's
I don't
we've
think
now
we
it's
did.
not the
It's
time,
too bad
but-
because we will
but,
sometime. It's
yeah,
great.
this is the back end of the
That'll be a
podcast, but
number.
I absolutely love this woman in that way. We're love mates,
Oh,
we're
thank you.
soulmates.
Love mates. That
and
was our name.
and
That's
I feel
cute.
like I found that person. It was an amazing experience. Just like, you know, Aaron and Mel
Look, we're
feel the
cuddling
same
by the
way.
microphone.
I
There you
know.
go.
You
It's our
know they
anniversary,
are. They're
Phil.
so cute right
So
now.
I
guys.
got to say, calling all you single ladies. No.
Oh, dip.
I will find.
I'm sitting here
watching.
I'm sitting here looking at these two
Dude,
beautiful
this guy is
couples.
the sweetest
like, talking
guy on
about
earth.
It's
But
just like,
Apple, you love. So what's your favorite thing about love?
Yeah, love.
Portland ladies, let me tell you, this is the
Portland
coolest guy out there. He's so sweet, so intelligent, so gentle, so
Yeah.
nice.
I know.
If you're single and out there and you're like, what? I need to attract somebody cool. Like, dude,
This
go-
now podcast
Feel an
became
apple.
Apple's dating service.
I
It's
know.
like
I don't know how that happened. I just wanted to know about
matchmaker,
love.
matchmaker.
I didn't mean for this to happen.
Info at
No,
Simple
all right.
Road- Wait.
The thing I love most about love is
Yes.
that it's what makes life worth living. If you don't have love, you're not living.
Well, when I was
It's-
single, it's great to witness. When you're
How
with
can
the
you be
couples
happy?
that love each other, it's great to witness and know that love exists and that it manifests, and there's that
There's
affirmation, that
hope for
that
it.
feeling, you see it, and that's what and being in a relationship, for a deep relationship for 11 years with children and so many positives that you feel that deep resonance personally, but you can experience it from an outside perspective too.
You know, Mel, you asked what my favorite thing is.
Yeah.
I think, honestly, feeling complete as an individual, right? And then finding another person that's complete, and you come together and make something greater than the sum of its parts. Like, the two of you together are something that you couldn't be alone.
Mm-hmm.
That
Yeah.
I think that's my favorite thing.
That's
and,
cool.
And getting in bed at night and having your feet touch my feet. That too.
And then all of a sudden the Neville brothers are playing just the two of
Yeah.
us.
We can make it if we try.
So here we go.
Just
As the
two
Neville
of
brothers
us.
play us out,
You and
I want to say one last time, Jason, thank you very much for spending time with us, brother. And we look forward to talking to you more in the future. To all the rest of the guys in the String Cheese Incident, thank you so much for a transcendent weekend in Eugene. And I can't wait to see you guys again next year. And for all you guys out there, do all the stuff that I said and check out all the things that I told you about. And remember that we love you. And without further ado, the No Simple Road crew gives you
Jason Hann.
What's up, Blaze? How you doing?
Hello.
What's happening?
We're on our way.
What are you doing back there?
I'm hanging out in the back of the car. I'm hanging out.
Are you ready for the show?
I am ready for the show.
So, you've never seen Cheese?
Nope. Never listened to them either.
Wait, what?
Ever.
So I remember, I think a while back, I remember hearing you say, when we take you to shows, and if you don't know the band, you make it a point to not listen to them beforehand?
Oh, absolutely.
Why is that?
Because I like to really experience a genuine first impression in person. It's quite a different experience being there.
But isn't it like, I know I'm exactly the opposite. Like if I'm going to see somebody that I've never seen before, I'll listen to as much of it as possible so that I feel like I'm at least a little bit familiar with what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm. I'm always surprised by how familiar I do find the music without, even when I went to Dark Star and I never even really listened to anything remotely close to the Grateful Dead, I found myself just meshing right in. So now when I go to these shows, I experience it.
Yeah, I mean, you were one of those people that, like, I don't know, man. When I met you, I knew right away. I was like, this fucking kid needs to go to a show immediately.
Yeah.
And then it just worked out so perfectly that they were coming to town and all that. Like,
certainly. Yeah, and I treat every show with a lot of intention. I don't just see it as simply as just going to a show. It's
so
a
what
real,
is it?
it's a
Explain
life,
it.
it's a life experience, you know, and that carries on to the future like a living memory.
But what's the intention?
I guess there's a lot to it. It's, I guess, generally to try to learn something in a form. I think for a long time I struggled greatly with actually enjoying a live show because I couldn't overcome the heavy energistical barrier of being around a lot of people. But that started to fade away, you know, when I began going to shows with you guys, namely because the crowd is a lot more different and it's a lot more like just accepting and not as abrasive, and everyone's kind of in a similar, you know, mind state. So
Yeah.
I meshed in.
I think, too, one of the things that you begin to realize after you go to a few shows is that nobody's really fucking paying attention to you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I still, 30 years later, have those moments where I feel like everybody's fucking looking at me,
Mm-hmm.
and I get self-conscious.
Is this shirt cool?
Yeah, all that.
All of that.
But then I remember what's actually going on, and
yeah.
everybody's in their own trip
Yeah.
and having a good time, and they could fucking care less how you're dancing or what you're wearing, or you know what I mean?
Absolutely. And of course, it's also really accredited to these types of bands as well, because like the crowds they cater to, they're like family. They're not just these performers or someone there. Of course, it's to just earn a quick buck or whatever. They do it for the lifestyle, for the people. They do it for the people. And
Grateful Dead said, we used to play for silver, now we play for life.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's way more than just making a buck.
Yeah.
And I mean, I can't imagine a band like Cheese or Dark Star or J-Rad or Dead and any of them like, well, time to go to work. Oh, fuck. Like, I would imagine that it's just as exciting for them, if not more so in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe not the 50th show into the run,
Mm-hmm.
but surely at the beginning of the tour, like, you're stoked to have it happen. I
Yeah.
would think.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm stoked you're with us, though.
I'm glad to be going, you know.
I'm glad you didn't show up last week like you were planning.
Brady, he overheard the whole conversation. He just thinks it's hilarious because we were just wrapping up like the details and everything. And I was like, all right, see you tomorrow night. And then Aaron's just like, what do you mean?
It's next week, dude.
It's next week.
Go ahead and come down if you want to, but
Well, I'm always glad to be in Portland
Yeah, man.
with the family.
We're always glad to have you, Blaze. And it's so cool, like, for me to go to shows with you and see it through your eyes.
Experiencing it
With-
vicariously.
with you,
with
yeah,
me,
man.
though, yeah.
And you're such a loud telepathic talker that when we get in there and are doing our thing, like, it's like so much fun to see it through your eyes like that.
Yeah, and that's really cool having that affirmed back to me through you, and because of that, now when I'm in Seattle and I go to shows by myself, I've legitimately had like completely inaudible silent conversations with people, and they just absolutely like they're responding through, you know, just a quiet communication. And it's really cool.
That's like, to me, that's the most fun part of, that's what is fun about it, is like that we're communicating through music and feeling without having to use words. And we don't even have to be playing.
Yeah.
You could just be there in it. And I mean, I guess that's the whole trip.
Yeah.
That wraps it up right there. Well, shit. Podcast is done. We figured it out.
retire now. Where's our retirement fund?
Yeah, well, it's coming. Yeah, man. I'm what?
I just remember too when Dark Star was the first show he went to with us, and we were having fun and taking sacrament and stuff, and it was funny because I remember the first couple shows we had to keep an eye on Blaze. like he almost went over the balcony that one time.
Oh, shit.
He was having so
flip.
into the music, he was leaning forward over the balcony, and that one couple by us were like, "Is that your friend?" And he's like fucking 90-degree hanging over
ready.
the balcony, about to do a fucking flip onto the floor. We're like, "Oh shit!" And then you loved going up to strangers and touching their faces.
Yeah.
We're like, Blaze, you can't do that to everybody. Like, everybody's not receptive to that.
Yeah, and I didn't know that. I thought people just loved the face touches. It was not until Aaron, before we went to a show, was like, "All right, Blaze, no touching faces this time." And I was just like, fine, damn, I don't want to touch faces anyways. And then what's funny about that show is I distinctly remember, like, mid-show, turning around and looking at some beautiful people, and I was just like, I'm just touching your face with my mind.
Yeah.
Don't
Don't
actually touch the faces.
Nobody will say shit if you do that.
You guys share with the listeners the dude. What did he do? He's gonna get something. I don't remember what it was.
We went out at set break at Dark Star and crammed into this like 20 by 7 area, the entire smokers of the show. And then to go back into the venue, you have to walk through metal detectors. So you line up more or less in line, and you go through the metal detectors one at a time.
Jam band people line up.
Yeah. And this is Blaze's first show. He's high as shit, and he goes through the metal detector, and dude behind him is like, "I'm gonna get your butt." Blaze is like, "What?"
Okay, hold on.
Running up to us, like, "The guy said he's gonna get my butt."
Well, how it happened more specifically, because I remember that very clearly, because this was my introduction to the scene. Was, so my senses are heightened, and I just had my phone in my pocket or something. So as I go through the metal detector, it beeps and it scares me. So I kind of like jump a bit, and like I look up all frightened, and it was actually across the room. Someone else is looking back at me, and they're like, "I'm gonna get your butt."
Oh shit. And you came back to me, you're like, is that normal? Does that happen in every show? I'm like, no, Blaze, that's not a common occurrence. I've never, ever, in 30 years, had somebody tell me they're going to get my butt. Oh well. You know what? You're gonna remember that for the rest of your fucking life.
Yes.
I know I am too. So now every time we see Blaze, we're like, I'm gonna get your butt.
Get your bid.
All right, so it's 12:30 on Friday afternoon, and we're headed down to Eugene and check into the hotel, hook up with the tour manager of Cheese, and later this afternoon interview Jason Hann. So yeah, that's what's happening right now. We're gonna pay attention to the road and hydrate.
Oh shit, I'm driving.
Yeah, pay attention to the road. Drink this water. Safety third and all that. And that's gross, dude. What are you doing? It's disgusting. Don't make that noise.
Doing an impression of Darwin drinking his water.
What is a city without its music?
The legacy of the New York Philharmonic is incredible.
Nearly 2 centuries of history. That's a lot of music and a lot of stories.
I was sitting on stage for the very first time thinking, I can't quite believe this is happening.
Join me, Jamie Bernstein, as we explore the history of the New York Philharmonic. It's the NY Phil story made in New York, a podcast about a city, its people, and their orchestra. Listen wherever you get podcasts.
There you go. Okay.
Poor Darwin's home alone.
He was sad when we left. He looked at me like, man, what the
Very
fuck?
sad.
It's hard. That's another loud telepathic talker. That dude, it's so sad when you leave him like that. When the schedule is different and he knows that something's going on, he gets so weird, man.
Yeah, very morose.
All funky and morose, just staring at you like, come on, man. All right. Anyway, enough about Darwin. We'll be back in a little bit. We'll see you guys soon. I think that's the place we first saw you, was at the Brooklyn Bowl there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, you're
Very cool.
Yeah.
In November, though. It was a different venue.
November.
He's like, where was I?
Yes,
When?
you're exactly right. What was that? What was that venue? It was like more of a theater. Cosmopolitan. Yeah.
How's that? I've never
That's
been there.
right.
What's that place like?
What is that? What is that place? I think it's a newer hotel, right?
It's like
Yeah.
a bougie kind of new, like the hipster. Kind
It was pretty hipster.
Badass.
But what was good? It's a really nice theater, and I think everyone liked staying. Well, a lot of people like staying at the same place that the theater was, so they could just go up to the room, change, come back
No
down,
hassles.
and stay up the rest of the night. Yeah. Are you guys Henderson or
We live up here now. We live in
For
Portland.
about 3.5 years.
Oh,
But
okay.
We're from Vegas, and this
Ah,
is
okay.
our good buddies. We've been up here. He's from
Nice.
Kind of managed
That's
the
right.
podcast for us.
Very cool. Very
man.
cool. Good to be with you. Crazy sound check. There was some.
Take a breath,
Oh, yes.
man. It's no fucking hassles. Yeah.
And bring it in. Serenity now. All right. All right. Okay.
I mean, I would think, even after all this time, like, doing shit like this must be weird, isn't it? Like, having to come do interviews, talking to people you don't know.
Oh, no.
Does it ever get normal?
I think that's the normal, is just kind of expect to sort of run into new people all the time, or people that, that you've met, but they might be in a different sort of capacity if you haven't seen them in a while. Some people might have started like either a magazine or a podcast or something like that. And, a lot of times it can be like, say, someone you knew that was always around the scene, but then all of a sudden you get, ready to do an interview. It's like, oh, you're that guy that, So that kind of that seems to happen pretty regularly, because I think people just love music and finding different ways to be around it more, or want to express a different part of it if they're not necessarily on stage.
Yeah, and one of the awesome things about like you guys in particular and the scene is the family of people.
Oh, yeah.
And how tight everybody is, and it's such a beautiful like scene.
Oh, yeah.
And do you guys ever feel like, you personally, I wonder, like a pressure because you're looked up to in that family like that? Does that ever?
That's a really good question. For me, I almost always, at least inside, is like feel sort of the opposite. Like I'm always, trying to work on music, trying to do something, or if I go out after a show, I'm down for like hanging out as well. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's the fun part. There's all these wonderful people out there. Yeah. Or to see the same faces at the same hotel. I like meeting people more like from the area because it all of a sudden gives the area character and for either how I remember it or go out and about walking around during the day. All these, it's almost like doing things to make it more special every place you go. More palpable,
You're going so much that doing something like that, like you become part of it instead of like transient.
Yeah, exactly.
That's kind of what we do with the show. We bring the artists and individual ones to the front to see what's up with them, and so the people that are listening are like, "Oh,
that's the dude."
That's how you do it.
Yeah. So that's why specifically, thanks for taking the time by yourself, so we can get to know you. Because when it's a bunch of guys, like it's not as personal.
It's a different thing. Like, different dynamic. Different thing.
And you kicked ass at Eodo.
Fuck yeah, man.
Nice.
You guys have to go.
Yeah.
We're gonna have a really great time.
That's fun.
It's the first time you guys played in Portland in a really long time.
And and Portland used to be one of our like spots where we would come through. We would do like. We would even play like Hood River, and then we do Portland, and then work our way like I don't know the order, but definitely Eugene and Ashland and Medford, and like we'd hit and Bend, we would hit everything coming through just like a couple hours away from each other, and then all of a sudden. Let's see, we started doing, as far as the Yoda goes, we started doing bus tours, and then it was less frequent trips through all the West Coast. We'd end up on the East Coast more, and then we just haven't been touring as much as we used to. So it's now I really miss coming to the area, and we haven't had Hornings here on the String Cheese side.
What's up, man?
I know.
Come on, man.
So it's great.
It's 20 minutes
How
from our house, bro.
Why, Bob?
We heard legendary
stories. It was so good. Oh, yeah.
I've been at Hornings a lot, and I just put it out there. There is a group of us that are really working together to try to put something together similar to the Hornings hideout scenario at the White Horse Mountain Amphitheater where they have Summer Meltdown.
Oh, wow.
I
love that
place.
place.
Played there in 2017. It has a lot of the same dynamics, camping on the river, 7,000 capacity, camping in the trees.
Ooh, we should stay in touch.
So we're there's a few of us, we had this vision, we had this idea, and we're just kind of putting it together right now to see if we can make it happen.
Yeah.
So because we really do miss the Northwest, 3-day camp out. There really is people starving in a way for it. They're just like, oh my God. Yeah, it was so huge. And they're really the only other place that has similar, characteristics to Horning's Hideout is that White Horse Mountain Amphitheater in the entire Northwest.
Yeah. Oh, so cool. Oh, I felt the legendary status when I first played there. I think 2005 was my first one with the band, and it was already pretty established. I think it started in 99 or 2000 or and so you could feel it was already impactful, and it was beautiful to go into something like that, and every year it kept getting more and more amazing, and now that it hasn't been possible to do it. I think Bob has a lot of events there, and when we come through there, we're set up on all his property where he does all his weddings. So I think it takes a lot for him to get his property back together, and we keep wanting to do things to enhance or go further than we did before, and it just didn't work with the visions weren't working out. The visions didn't work out. So
I mean, this is the first show of the fall tour,
right?
But the last run of the 25th year,
right? Oh, interesting.
So it's the beginning of an ending.
Yeah, I
right?
mean, we still let's see. After we do this run, we do this San Francisco, then we do our Halloween, then Austin, and then we do a Chicago, and then Denver Thanksgiving is our last show of the year. Yeah, so it's good. No New Year's this year, and I think we just wanted to switch it up and there's a great new venue in Denver called The Mission. And we wanted to do Thanksgiving there and
on
just
Thanksgiving?
do something. The Friday, Saturday after Thanksgiving.
Okay. I'm like,
Thanksgiving
okay,
weekend.
I'd come spend Thanksgiving.
Oh yeah,
with you guys, man.
come
Fuck
on.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
How does it feel like the only thing I've ever done for 25 years? Well, I can't think of anything. 24 years. 24 years I've been a dad. 22 years I've been a husband.
Oh wow.
But how does that feel? Like the accomplishment of the band after 25 years? That's a lot, man.
It's unbelievable. It's more and more perspective, when you really think about it and you think of how many bands start, and usually bands get to about the 10-year mark, and then it's like, what is going on? Either you had a lot of success really early, and now you're trying, you get signed to a record label. Now you're trying to live up to those first albums that came out, and but you're all out of whack because then you started touring when you've never even toured before, and there's all those dynamics that come in. Or it's a band that after 10 years, if everyone's still trying to keep their home job, to have enough money to feel like they can go out and do tours, sometimes that kicks in. Sometimes just the dynamic of the people just growing up, people have kids. There's so many dynamics that come into play over just a 10-year period. So to think about even a 20-year or 25-year period is incredible. That's really, we're all super thankful and grateful for being able to keep it all going.
That's what's awesome too, is as we're talking, we're all getting older, and growing up in the 80s.
God, why you got to ruin it?
Oh no, that was it. I gotta go now. No,
since we're all dying.
Yeah, since we're all dying, enjoy it. So wait, what is it's just awesome what we see now being older, because they have kids, all of these things, and they were when we were younger too. There always been family events, even like the Grateful Dead shows, right?
Yeah.
You see people, you see newborns with their snowball headphone, with headphones on, to people in their 90s.
Oh yeah.
And that's the beauty of this, what you guys provide and everything. And and again, there I go. There was no question.
That's good. I like it.
It's kind of like a thing.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
Keeping this community going and giving a platform for all of us to show up to.
Absolutely. And that's ultimately what keeps us going, Yeah. And it's like when we take the time to sort of reflect on it, it's like, man, these you people have been with us for all these years and longer than myself. I've been 15 years with the band, and so people have been with it longer than that, and it's you feel that from the band's perspective too. It's like you're growing up as a family, like kids are now people's kids are coming to the shows, that So
and I think at year 25, I love String Cheese. Has been a huge fan since 20. This is my 20th anniversary.
Wow.
My first show is right here, opening up for Phil and Friends.
Yeah, man.
1999's 20th anniversary.
Yeah.
But the story that's never been told is how exactly you got the gig with String Cheese Incident. I mean, were there rehearsals?
Oh, me.
Did they come to you? Were you then what's the story of how you got accepted? Was there a letter?
Yeah.
How did that,
there was a ship. And the captain put the note in a bottle.
Yeah, I read
and
a
one
lot
day
of books.
I went to the beach.
I read a lot of books, a lot of interviews. I've never heard that story.
Oh, wow.
So I'd love to hear that story.
But I think the note in the bottle sounds like that would be the best.
That would be the best
I
thing.
just picked up the bottle like, what?
Yeah.
And it was let's see, back in 96 or 97, I was in a band from Los Angeles called Zoo People, and we were like a Allman Brothers, Steely Dan type of band, and we were signed to Atlantic Records, and that was one of those things, signed at pretty young age, and right at that time, I think that's right around the time where there was the Horde tour, and Dave Matthews Band was signed, and Blues Traveler was doing there was right. I think Spin Doctors headlined that, and so it was definitely a scene. And one of the guys in our band was without a doubt way into that. I think he was into Fish. He was already into String Cheese at the time, and This is like 95 or something. I think so. I think he had just heard about it, and he knew people from the Fish scene and the Grateful Dead scene that were checking out String Cheese. So anyways, we were on our own path, but we got these gigs in at High Sierra around that time. And so we went up there, and nobody knew who we were, but our record label was like, let's hit that up. And our management was actually Chuck Morris, who runs like Red Rocks out in Colorado and stuff. So there's some ties to the scene for sure. And so we played on the stage like in the afternoon. And the generator kept going out, and we counted it. The generator to the stage went out like 13 times or something like that. And every time I know, right? Every time the generator went out, me and the drummer would look at each other. We're just like, all right, let's just keep it going, drum solo, And so it would be like, the power would go out, and everyone would go like, but then we'd start playing drums. They go, and then the power would go on, and be like, and then the power would go out again, and be like, So it's like, for an hour-long set, that's a lot.
That's
yeah.
a lot of back and forth.
And that was a lot of drums and percussion. And I'm pretty sure Travis saw that set, and he was the one that approached me after the set, and he introduced himself, and he said, "Hey, do you want to go play some hand drums with?" Actually, do you know Jared Kaplan from Truly and Green? Yeah, and he sat in here last time we were here. But anyways, me, Travis, and Jared just played like hand percussion over by their Bussy, and one guy, Bruce, I can't remember, Bruce Hayes, who was actually one of the original members of String Cheese before like even Travis was in it and stuff, before it was even called String Cheese, but people getting together. He had a recorder, and he recorded us doing percussion there, to make a long story long. But he had a all right. Please tell me more. So he records the three of us, and he ends up putting our percussion jam on like his solo guitar album. And I think that just became a way of somehow connecting and staying in touch. Me and Travis traded phone numbers. I don't think I met the other guys then. And we did a couple of calls a year. I think one time they came through San Diego in like 1999, San Diego and Los Angeles. And I sat in with them both times, but they were always sit-ins with like 5 other people, like Carl Denson and other people. So I wasn't, again, I didn't really meet the rest of the guys during that time because there were so many guests. And but me and Travis sort of stayed in touch. Then we went kind of different ways, and I ended up being in kind of going the route of sideman and studio guy in Los Angeles. Played with like Ricky Lee Jones, and I played with Isaac Hayes for a while. And then one out of the blue in like 2004, Travis calls me. And he said, well, I just talked to this guy from a Santana tribute band that I played with like only 2 or 3 times, but I was on like the guy's website. And so that's how Travis somehow found me in the internet. And that guy gave Travis my number. And then Travis called me and he's like, hey, we're coming into LA this weekend. Are you in town by any chance? And at that time I was working a ton. It was very rare when I would be home on a weekend, but I had that weekend open. It's so weird how stuff goes. But I was like, yeah, I can do it. It'd be great to see you. What should I bring down? And he says, bring down a lot of gear, because we might be looking for, so to add someone to the band. We don't know, nothing like that. And so I brought. Was that a line?
Yeah.
Like, we might be like,
might be. No, I really think it was just like they're very much not necessarily thinking about who they wanted to add, or just something. They made it seem like it didn't want another like melodic soloist per se at the time, but and then I had my feet kind of equal in studying a lot of indigenous music from like Africa and Cuba and Brazil and India, and I was also into like computer music programming, like drum programming for like movie trailers and commercials and stuff. So I had my feet in those worlds, and at that time, that seemed like the right adds to the band, because Travis and Kang had been going to Burning Man and realizing this whole West Coast DJ culture that was very much pretty exclusive to like San Francisco and Exactly, and it was something they were both like way into. So, and I think Sound Tribe had opened up for String Cheese by that point, and that was like, whoa, where these guys kind of created their own genre within like the jam scene as far as. Oh, really? Oh, yeah. That was the thing is, yeah, and Travis going Sound Tribe, son, fucking 9 or something like that. Yeah, yeah, exactly.
I definitely wasn't in this dimension, but I was there.
Yeah, that's great. So I think that was like, you know, the timing combination of all those things, and since they had already been playing a lot of Latin music and African music and Allman Brothers kind of things with, you know, kind of maybe hearing the percussion, the what? Yes, the John Link Pawnee stuff too. Yeah, which was wild for me because at that High Sierra earlier, we went to go like String Cheese was the talk of the town, and they were playing at the tent on like the old grounds and stuff, and then they opened up with one of the Jean Luc Ponty songs, and at the time, I had been playing a lot of jazz with and gone to like Ghana with like some African musicians to play jazz there, and we were all listening to the Jean Luc Ponty record at the time. This is. Yeah, exactly. And so for us to see, let alone, you know, a supposed, you know, jam band playing the song, it was such a surprise to me. I was like, wow,
Do you feel that like,
was really
that
cool.
moment of synchronicity and everything like connecting, like, oh shit.
Something in there. Well, oh yeah, right. And in the moment, it was wild to make that connection and then make the connection with Travis the next day, and then sit in a couple of times. But I was in such a different scene. I didn't think about, you know, that I was even going back into the jam scene because I was in the studio a lot and playing on a lot of different sessions like that. And when I would tour, it was more like in the R&B scene and stuff. So I was going like further. I was further away from that. Oh no, stop! But stop it some more. No.
No, I'm so serious. I didn't know any of these things about you, and so that's my
that's cool.
jam.
Oh,
it's like the R&B.
That's great. Yeah.
Play with Dre too. So
You're a Dr. Dre fan, yeah. I mean, it's the only hip hop record. Hi, Todd.
we're getting the high sign.
Oh yeah. Sorry, that's okay. But that's the only hip hop record that I played on was that Dr. Dre Chronic 2001. But that's a long story in itself. But anyways, it's and then in 2004, I came out and I did a show with them in Los Angeles at the Wiltern. Then they asked me if I could make any shows the rest of that weekend. I couldn't make the Saturday, but I could make the Sunday. And I came up, and then they asked me later, hey, you want to go out on fall tour? We'll just try it out and just see. And then somewhere in the middle of the fall tour, it kept steamrolling a little more. The message in the bottle. But it's awesome. Just so thankful and grateful. And then at some point I had to make a decision. My schedules really started catching up with me, and it was like, do I drop all my studio stuff in LA and join this band? But the thing was, when I was on that fall tour, I was also like, man, it feels so good to play in front of just like a lot of people again, and feeling like it's a different relationship. So sometimes when you play with another artist per se, it's still, you still feel like in the best way, like, supporting and doing that. But then all of a sudden in this instance, when you really start interacting with the fans, and, there's a part that they take you in as well as like family, and, and it's not, and then you go with the only thing is afterwards. There's so many people that want to tell me their stories about all their favorite shows that I wasn't at. I'm like, I love your story. Man. I love your story, but I have nothing to do with that.
Jason, man, I appreciate you, brother. And sometime when you're not traveling, I would love to just do this on the phone.
Finish the conversation.
This on the phone.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I want to talk to you about voodoo.
Oh, what?
Man.
Sorry, I made that story. Okay, we got more discussions to be had.
We can do this longer.
Absolutely, you guys are a pleasure to talk with.
On,
yeah, right on.
well as a fear. We've traveled this road before, so we may think, but it's a tad bit of strange similarities that feed an A equal A complex. The fears of your past do not equal the perplexities of the current road.
Osiris.
Hey listeners, I want to tell you about the April-May 2023 issue of Relics magazine. Features a Dave Matthews Band cover story with additional articles and interviews with The National, Graham Nash, Wayne Shorter, ALO, Ivan Neville, our friend Eric Krasno and Stanton Moore, Marty Stewart, and much more. Check out the latest version of Relics and subscribe now at relics.com/DMB. Thanks, Relics.
What's up, everyone? It's Joe, and I'm the host of That's Awesome with Joe, a podcast on the newly formed Sound Talent Media Podcast Network. I talk with tons of your favorite artists, managers, touring personnel, and more. Most of the time we talk about music, but lots of the time we end up talking about something completely unrelated. We laugh a lot. We do a lot of really stupid things, but also some things that are really informative and interesting. Basically, it's a podcast that I think you should listen to. Obviously, I'm biased because it's my podcast, but I think I might be into it if I wasn't the host. Check it out at soundtalentmedia.com.